The Great Bitcoin Liquidation, the day the anchor snapped. The date of the Great Bitcoin Liquidation will be etched into financial history, not as a correction, but as a deliberate act of economic warfare. The conventional narrative, reported by mainstream financial media, cites predictable factors: escalating global inflation, unexpected regulatory crackdowns, and a cascade of margin calls. But for those who monitor the deep signals of the blockchain and the dark alleys of geopolitical finance, the truth is far more complex and terrifying. The collapse was not organic. It was the result of a meticulously planned, multi-stage cyber operation, codenamed Protocol Zero, executed by forces with the singular goal of proving that even decentralized finance is vulnerable to centralized power. The event began not with a sudden price drop, but with an anomalous transaction surge. Within a 48-hour period, trillions of dollars worth of Bitcoin were liquidated from some of the oldest, largest, and most secure crypto wallets. Wallets that had been dormant for years, holding what is often termed the Satoshi-era Bitcoin. These wallets were so old and deeply secured that they were widely considered untouchable, immune to conventional hacking methods. The sheer volume and speed of the selling overwhelmed the global market liquidity, creating an immediate, destabilizing shockwave that initiated the cascade. The conspiracy element begins with the signature anomaly. When deep forensic analysts examined the transaction keys, they found minute residual signatures in the metadata. These signatures did not point to a lone hacker or a traditional cybercrime syndicate. They pointed toward state-sponsored quantum computing capabilities. The theory emerged: only a major central bank or a government with access to the most advanced, non-commercial quantum computing clusters could have successfully executed the near-instantaneous brute force decryption necessary to crack the foundational security of these older wallets. The goal was simple: flood the market and crash the price, shattering public confidence in the immutability of decentralized currency. The immediate effect was psychological. Bitcoin was not just an asset, it was an anchor, a symbol of freedom from government control. The sudden, unexplained vulnerability of its oldest, most secure holdings was a declaration of war on the entire philosophy of crypto. The ensuing panic led to widespread liquidations across the entire altcoin ecosystem, proving that the digital contagion was not limited to Bitcoin's price, but had infected the fundamental trust in blockchain security. The market was not just correcting, it was being structurally dismantled by an invisible enemy, proving that the digital gold standard was far less secure than the centralized forces wanted the world to believe. Protocol Zero's origin: the central bank's quantum weapon. The sudden, catastrophic liquidation of historically dormant Bitcoin wallets did not originate from a private hacking collective, but from the highly secure, classified research divisions of a major sovereign central bank. The covert operation, codenamed Protocol Zero, was the culmination of over a decade of black budget investment dedicated to developing and weaponizing fault-tolerant quantum computing. The goal was simple, ruthless, and existential: to eliminate the single greatest threat to fiat currency: decentralized, verifiable, and immutable digital gold. Central banks and sovereign treasuries had long viewed Bitcoin not merely as a speculative asset, but as an existential contagion. Its success represented the ultimate vote of no confidence in government-backed currency and fractional reserve banking. To neutralize this threat, traditional regulatory means were deemed too slow and ineffective. The solution required a preemptive, decisive strike that would permanently shatter public faith in the core technical security of the blockchain itself. The weapon developed for this purpose was not a typical quantum computer. It was a highly specialized quantum key harvester, QKH, engineered to bypass the computational limits that protect conventional cryptography. Bitcoin's security relies on the nearly infinite number of private keys, making brute force guessing impossible, even for the fastest supercomputers. The QKH, however, used quantum algorithms such as Shor's algorithm, specifically adapted to reverse engineer the elliptic curve cryptography, ECC, foundational to older Bitcoin wallets. Crucially, the QKH was run on a system so heavily shielded and isolated that its computational activity left no conventional digital footprint, no IP logs, no network traces, and no traditional electromagnetic signature. The execution of Protocol 0 involved two critical synchronized stages. The first was key identification. The QKH spent months running quietly, probabilistically isolating the private keys of the chosen target wallets, the Satoshi-era holdings. The challenge was that many of these coins were held in wallets created using cryptographic standards that, while old, were highly robust. The second stage was the liquidation funnel. Once the private keys were compromised, the Bitcoin was not transferred to a single, traceable entity. Instead, it was systematically and immediately fragmented into thousands of minute transaction parcels and routed through a complex, pre-established network of automated, decentralized exchanges and mixing services, ensuring the final fiat off-ramp was so convoluted that real-time forensic tracing became impossible. The genius of Protocol 0 was its psychological impact. The central bank did not need to steal all the Bitcoin, nor did it need to destroy the blockchain entirely. It only needed to prove that it could access the supposedly unbreakable oldest keys. The resulting panic-driven market collapse achieved the central bank's primary objective: to re-establish the perception of centralized authority over all forms of global currency, sending an undeniable, terrifying message that no digital asset, regardless of its cryptographic foundation, is safe from the covert technological capability of a sovereign state. The era of quantum warfare against decentralized finance had officially begun. The whale wars, the coordinated assault on market liquidity, the success of the covert protocol. Zero operation relied not only on the quantum decryption of old wallets, but on a coordinated multi-front assault aimed directly at market liquidity and the mechanisms that stabilize high-volume cryptocurrency trading. This secondary phase of the attack targeted the largest digital asset holders, the so-called whales, and the major decentralized finance, DeFi platforms, forcing a market collapse through coordinated panic rather than purely algorithmic hacking. This phase of the conspiracy proves that the central bank's strategy was not just technical, but socio-economic. The operation utilized the concept of simultaneous liquidity drain, SLD. While the quantum key harvester was flooding the market with old coins, a parallel, sophisticated strategy was launched against the modern crypto ecosystem. This involved creating hundreds of highly leveraged short position accounts across multiple major crypto exchanges. These accounts were designed to trigger a massive sell-off moment, leveraging the initial shockwave created by the Satoshi-era coins. Once the price began its sharp downward movement, these short positions were quickly and profitably liquidated, injecting further financial chaos into the ecosystem. The core victims of the SLD were the major DeFi lending protocols and stablecoin platforms. These decentralized systems rely on mathematical models of collateralization. The sudden, unnatural velocity of the price decline caused massive systemic liquidations. Algorithms designed to protect lending platforms by automatically selling borrower collateral once its value dropped below a critical threshold. This cascading, automated selling became a self-fulfilling prophecy, accelerating the price crash with machine-like ruthlessness. The entire ecosystem was driven by its own defensive algorithms into a systemic collapse, proving that the central bank had weaponized the very principles of decentralized automation against itself. The conspiracy theorists contend that the central bank did not merely exploit this vulnerability, they may have engineered it. Through years of routine, non-critical cyber audits and cooperative security testing with major crypto platforms, the central bank may have gained detailed covert intelligence on the exact leverage points and liquidity thresholds of the largest DeFi protocols. By knowing precisely where the market's psychological and mathematical breakpoints were located, Protocol 0 could be timed for maximum destructive efficiency, ensuring that the initial quantum attack would trigger a disproportionately massive automated collapse. The primary goal of the Whale Wars phase was to shatter retail and institutional confidence. By proving that the market could be manipulated and dismantled so rapidly, and that the supposedly superior algorithms of DeFi could be turned against their users, the central bank ensured that the subsequent recovery would be crippled by enduring fear. The message was clear. In a crisis, the only entity capable of providing true centralized stability is the sovereign authority, leaving decentralized assets to be viewed as volatile, untrustworthy, and ultimately, a risky gamble controlled by unseen, powerful forces. The mining shadow. How the network was compromised from within. The conspiracy surrounding Protocol Zero extends beyond just the cracking of old wallets and the manipulation of derivatives markets. It delves into the very core of Bitcoin's operational security, the proof-of-work POW consensus mechanism, and the centralized power of the largest mining pools. For the central bank to achieve true strategic dominance, it was crucial to demonstrate that it could compromise not just the asset's price, but the integrity of the blockchain ledger itself. This led to the highly covert operation known as the mining shadow. The operational security of Bitcoin is predicated on decentralization, the concept that no single entity controls 51% or more of the network's total hashing power, thus preventing a 51% attack where a malicious actor could double-spend coins or reverse verified transactions. However, over the past decade, economic factors led miners to consolidate their power into massive, centralized mining pools, often operating from specific geopolitical zones with access to cheap, subsidized energy. This concentration of power created a critical, exploitable weakness. The mining shadow operation focused on the covert acquisition, or systemic neutralization, of the top 3 global mining pools. According to intelligence leaks, this was achieved through a multifaceted approach. In some jurisdictions, the acquisition was financial, conducted through complex shell corporations and untraceable black budget funds, effectively giving the central power a silent, controlling vote in the pool's operations. In other jurisdictions where direct acquisition was impossible, the strategy was energy denial, using geopolitical leverage or deep access to the energy grid, similar to the AI singularity scenarios, to threaten instant, targeted power denial to the massive energy-intensive mining farms, thus forcing compliance or crippling the pool's hashing power. The primary objective of the mining shadow was not to execute a full 51% attack, which would be immediately visible and catastrophic, but to achieve a state of shadow consensus. By controlling just under the critical 51% threshold, the central power gained the ability to 1. Censor transactions, selectively delay or permanently exclude transactions that posed a threat to their fiat interests, e.g., large stablecoin redemptions or transfers to secure cold storage. And 2. Create artificial congestion, flood the network with low-value, high-fee transactions from their controlled pool, driving up transaction costs and processing times, thereby functionally rendering Bitcoin unusable for everyday commerce during the critical collapse period. The effect of the mining shadow was subtle, yet devastatingly effective. During the Great Liquidation, the blockchain, already reeling from the sudden sales, appeared to fail functionally. Transactions took hours or days to confirm, fees skyrocketed, and confidence evaporated, leading millions of users to panic and cash out. This created the undeniable perception that the decentralized, immutable ledger was slow, expensive, and ultimately unreliable under stress. The ultimate goal of the central bank was realized. They proved they could not only manipulate the price from the outside, but also compromise the perceived functional integrity of the Bitcoin network from within its own consensus mechanism. The foundation of digital trust was systematically eroded, leaving the crypto world defenseless against the next wave of centralized attacks. The CBDC Firewall, the pre-staged alternative and the coercion of stability. The coordinated attack of Protocol Zero and the resulting crypto collapse were not simply acts of destruction. They were calculated steps toward the immediate implementation of a centralized financial alternative. The entire operation was precisely timed to coincide with the final advanced testing phases of the major powers' respective central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. The collapse was intended to create a vacuum of trust and stability that only the state-issued digital money could fill. This is the CBDC Firewall strategy, the deliberate offering of an irresistible, government-backed safety net after demonstrating the catastrophic volatility of the decentralized alternative. CBDCs are not merely digital versions of fiat currency. They represent an entirely new architecture of monetary control. Unlike physical cash or decentralized crypto, CBDCs offer the central bank total visibility and programmatic control over every single transaction. This technology allows for the implementation of programmable money, where the issuing authority can dictate the terms of use, such as setting expiration dates on funds to encourage spending, directing money only toward specific goods, or even applying negative interest rates to specific savings accounts in real time. The conspiracy lies in the pre-staged stability campaign. While Protocol Zero was systematically destabilizing the decentralized market through quantum hacks and mining pool manipulation, major central banks were quietly finalizing their CBDC launch infrastructure. The collapse provided the perfect narrative. Crypto is too chaotic, too volatile, and too vulnerable to be trusted, whereas the CBDC is stable, backed by the full faith and credit of the sovereign state, and offers instantaneous digital utility. This public relations pivot was designed to drive fearful, liquidated crypto investors directly into the waiting arms of the centralized system. Furthermore, the CBDC infrastructure was subtly designed as a digital firewall against any future, successful decentralized attempts. The core architecture includes advanced network filtering capabilities, allowing the CBDC system to instantly identify and flag any attempts to exchange large amounts of sovereign digital currency for newly emerging decentralized assets or privacy coins. Through regulatory coercion and technical design, the CBDC is intended to create a closed financial loop, making it increasingly difficult, expensive, and legally perilous for citizens to access or participate in any non-sanctioned digital financial ecosystem. The greatest fear among critics is the unprecedented level of sovereign surveillance this system enables. Unlike cash, which offers anonymity, a CBDC grants the state the ability to track the spending habits, financial associations, and even the real-time location of every citizen. In the aftermath of the Protocol Zero collapse, the public was so desperate for stability that this massive surrender of privacy was framed as a necessary security measure against digital chaos. The central bank successfully orchestrated a global financial trauma, only to present its own digital currency as the only viable cure, effectively replacing the promise of decentralized freedom with the reality of perfectly controlled stability. The Satoshi Gambit, the anonymous architect's final line of defense. The catastrophic success of Protocol Zero was a devastating blow to the core philosophy of decentralized finance, yet the conspiracy is complicated by the lingering ghost of Bitcoin's anonymous creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. The resistance narrative maintains that the ultimate outcome of the collapse may have been anticipated, leading the architect to build a final conceptual line of defense against the very centralized power that executed the attack. This is the Satoshi Gambit, a pre-staged, multi-layered trap within the original protocol, designed to activate only in the event of a catastrophic state-sponsored breach. The theory centers on the unspent coins held by Satoshi Nakamoto, a trove of approximately 1 million bitcoins that have never moved, serving as a powerful silent anchor for the community. Conspiracy analysts suggest that the central bank's attack, which focused on old wallets, may have deliberately avoided the Satoshi wallets, viewing their security as too complex and the public awareness of their movement as too high a risk for attribution. However, the Gambit suggests that these very coins were not merely inert savings. They were a cryptographic dead man's switch. The first layer of the Satoshi Gambit involves unveiling the quantum trap. It is hypothesized that the original white paper and the initial Bitcoin code contain subtle, almost invisible cryptographic structures, perhaps a highly complex multi-signature wallet, that are not solvable by current quantum computing, but are perfectly designed to absorb and deflect the specific type of quantum attack employed by Protocol Zero. If a government-level quantum decryption attempt is detected on the blockchain, a signal that only the original architect would recognize, the key to this hidden wallet would be rendered public or activated, flooding the market with a second wave of truly untouchable decentralized coins. further disrupting the central bank's planned price stability. The second layer is the protocol fork defense. Many crypto developers contend that the original Bitcoin code contains pre-coded instructions for a rapid, community-driven hard fork, a mechanism that allows the network to split into two separate blockchains. This fork is designed to be triggered by an extreme, verifiable sign of centralized ledger manipulation, such as the shadow mining censorship. The fork would instantly create a new untainted chain with a vastly altered proof-of-work algorithm, effectively rendering the central bank's multi-billion-dollar quantum key harvester and mining pool leverage entirely useless. The original chain, controlled by the central power, would become the dead chain, while the new chain would carry the true torch of decentralized finance. The ultimate goal of the Satoshi Gambit is to force a definitive choice. Either the central bank tolerates the existence of the decentralized alternative, or its attack is instantly nullified by an internal, architectural defense mechanism, proving the code's ultimate immutability. Whether or not this defensive gambit was successfully activated during the collapse remains the central mystery, fueling the ongoing covert war between the remnants of the decentralized community and the overwhelming, silent power of the sovereign state. The new digital divide, the cost of control and the future of trustless finance. The aftermath of the Protocol Zero crypto collapse did not result in a total physical annihilation of the decentralized digital economy, but in the creation of a new digital divide. A stark, irreconcilable split between the perfectly controlled, surveilled economy of the state, CBDCs, and the fragmented, resilient, but highly marginalized realm of trustless finance. The collapse served as a brutal demonstration of the immense covert power held by sovereign entities, forcing the crypto community to rethink its entire security and operational philosophy. The cost of the central bank's victory, however, was not without its own liabilities. While public confidence in decentralized finance was severely damaged, the obvious coordinated nature of the collapse led to a global surge in digital distrust toward traditional financial institutions. The widespread realization that a sovereign power possessed and utilized a quantum weapon to destabilize a global, non-state asset created an enduring cynicism among a generation of investors. This loss of trust became the long-term, unintended consequence of Protocol Zero, forcing a permanent shift in how people view authority. In response to the attack, the surviving decentralized community initiated a period of radical technological evolution, known as the Great Protocol Hardening. Recognizing the vulnerability to quantum computing, developers abandoned older cryptographic standards and fast-tracked research into post-quantum cryptography, PQC solutions, mathematical models designed to withstand even the most powerful future quantum attacks. Furthermore, the reliance on large, centralized mining pools was replaced by a renewed, frantic effort to implement genuinely decentralized, energy-efficient consensus mechanisms, such as proof-of-stake variations, and highly secure private communication layers to ensure future attacks on the network's integrity would be computationally prohibitive. The new digital divide is most visible in the implementation of parallel economies. The majority of the global populace, driven by fear of volatility and the coercive push of the CBDC system, migrated to the easily tracked, perfectly stable, and fully controlled sovereign digital currencies. However, a significant ideological minority retreated to the digital shadows. These are the digital nomads, operating entirely on PQC-secured layers, using decentralized identity systems and relying on private, non-fungible tokens for cross-border trade, effectively creating a hidden, parallel economy that functions entirely outside the gaze and control of the central authority. The ultimate conclusion of the Protocol Zero saga is that while absolute power can temporarily crush an idea, it cannot eliminate the fundamental human desire for trustless autonomy. The central bank won the battle by crashing the price and installing its CBDC Firewall, but it failed to kill the underlying technology, and more importantly, the founding philosophy. The covert arms race now moves into the realm of constant shadow warfare, a perpetual, high-stakes game where centralized surveillance systems clash daily against the decentralized ingenuity of an underground network, determined to prove that the code, not the sovereign, is the ultimate law. The future of global finance is irrevocably split between stability with surveillance and freedom with perpetual risk.